So you never know what's going on in their life. So my number one thing for you is always listen, sit down, talk with the tenant, and try to understand where they're coming from, understand what their point of view is. Hey, so we're talking about 3 ways to get tenants out that are not paying. First, don't renew the lease. We got to buy them out. And number 3 is legal action. But before we get to the point, let's try to get things as peaceful as possible with the tenant. So you never know what's going on in their life. So my number one thing for you is always listen, sit down, talk with the tenant, and try to understand where they're coming from, understand what their point of view is. And that's going to help make things a whole lot smoother. So if you understand their point of view and understand what's going on in their life, you might be able to resolve this issue without even going to these 3 items. 2 are okay. 1 is I don't like going that way. But if you got to go that way, you got to go that way. So number 1 is just listen to people. This is our main point of everything. Just listen to them. Sit down, talk to them, go meet your tenant. Say before things get out of hand, before you start missing too many payments, if they miss 1 payment, just really don't be afraid to go there. Now they might get defensive, and the route they get defensive is depending on how you approach them. So approach people with kindness and say, hey, I understand things might be, I just want to check in with you and see what's going on. And try to just check in and say, I'm checking to see what's going on. I know you haven't made the payment yet. Is there anything I can do to help you out? And try to listen to the story. Come from a different angle. And they might say, well, work or something, or my mom, or my sister, my dog, something. Whatever the reason is, just listen to their story and go with the story. Don't try to have a solution. Just go with the story. And just listen to them, go with the story, say, okay, hey, so there's something wrong with the dog. Like, oh, what's wrong with the dog? Show that you're interested in. Show that you're interested in what's going on in their world. That's going to change. That's going to put their guard down a little bit and help them feel like, oh, okay, I can work with this. He or she's understanding where I'm coming from, and you're not having their wall up. Because once the wall goes up, it's hard to get through that wall, and then you're fighting through it, and then that's when we go to these next stages, next tactics. So once the wall's up, then we got to fight through that, and you don't want to go through that route. It's much easier if you can bring the wall down, talk to them, listen to what their problems are. The main thing is you got to listen. Listening is key. Listen to what the problems are and not give them a solution, but just listen and then understand their story better. And then you can, work on the tactics after that. If you can't resolve that peacefully at that point, where you listen to their issues and they give you a solution, because you want them to come up with the idea like when's the best time they can make a payment or when these payments. Then you hold them to the deadlines. Now, if they're saying I can't pay you for 6 months, then it's a whole different story. But they're saying, hey, if you just give me a week, I got to take care of my dog, I got to take care of my mom, I got to take care of my daughter, I got to take care of my son, whatever. Give me a week and I'll get the money to you. Tell them, okay, 1 more week. Well, I'll call you next week. I'll call you in a couple of days. We'll just check on progress, and we'll go from there. So now they feel like you're on their side and you're listening to the stories. Now, don't let them take advantage of you. Don't let them try to play you by being, playing on your nice side. So you hold them that deadline of 1 week. And then if that didn't happen, if they didn't get paid, you didn't get paid in 1 week, that's when you hit these 3 tactics. And number 1, depending on where you're at the lease, you just say, hey, I'm not going to renew the lease. You let them know that, hey, something else came up with this property. I'm going to go a different direction. I appreciate you renting the property from me, but we're not going to renew the lease if it ends in March. Now, they might get again like, oh, man, you got 30 days to find a place. I'm just letting you know what's going on. Because, of course, that depends on timing of the lease. So number 2, if you can't renew the lease, if you can't cancel the lease, so number 2, if you can't cancel the lease, we're going to try to buy them out. We're going to say, hey, I understand you hit tough times, and I get that. So then you say, hey, I understand you hit tough times, but I gotta go a different direction with the property. I'm offering you $500 to get out of this property. It's called cash for keys. That's when you just offer them, hey, I'm gonna give you $500. Can you get out? Now they're most likely going to say, I can't take the $500. They say, okay, but you start low. Start at $500. You can start at $200. Whatever that kind of monthly rent is. So their rent's $500. Say, hey, I'm offering $500. If it's $700, offer $700. And then if they start giving pushback, say, hey, the best I can do is $1,000. $1,000 should get them, help them put a deposit in another place. So you're trying to get them from your place to another place, and $1,000 should get them in that another place. Legal action is not the fun one. You got to threaten them legal action. Say, hey, I understand your situation, but hey, we're using the same script. But I got a different direction of property, and unfortunately, because you haven't been able to pay, I got to take legal action against you. Hey, nothing against you. This is the next direction I got to go. We're going to take legal action on this situation, and we'll resolve it. Just let them know that. Just be upfront and let them know that, and then say, here's a paper. Here's the next steps, what's going through. So write down your steps, print it out, letterhead and everything else, what the next steps going through, so they know what's coming. So they're not surprised. And when the sheriff shows up, say, hey, we got to get out. because within 30 days, whatever the timeline is, then they'll hey, I gave you the directions, I gave you the steps what's going to happen, and you ignored those steps. So you want to make sure you take precautions to protect yourself. And again, those precautions could just be legal actions. And again, write it out so that your tenant knows what steps are coming up. I just want to give you 3 ways of how to get a tenant out of a property if they haven't been paying rent. Again, number 1 is don't renew the lease. 2 is buy them out. 3 is take legal action. Thank you again for watching. Chris Moore, always in the situation peacefully with tact, and you'll get a lot further in life. Talk to you later. Bye.